Hello and welcome to Vocal Percussion 101. My name is Dom and today I want to show you some techniques to beatbox better. I'm a huge fan of acapella. I listen to groups like Pentatonics and Voice Play all the time, and one of the main components of their singing is their beatbox or vocal percussionists. Like anything else, there are basics to vocal percussion, and the more you learn, the more you can expand and experiment, and the more fun you can have. So if you want to be able to do something kind of like this, keep watching. I know it kind of looks like I'm having a seizure when I do that, but hey, it works. So there are three basic sounds that pretty much every vocal percussionist out there uses. They're definitely the three sounds that I use the most. Those are the kick drum, the hi-hat, and the snare. So the kick drum is your the hi-hat is and the snare is the kind of smack sound. So the kick drum and the hi-hat are pretty easy. I mean, the kick drum, pretty much you just let the air in your mouth out really fast. I mean, kind of like you're spitting, so just a small opening between your lips, that way you really get that pop. And then the hi-hat is pretty much basically just a T sound. Maybe a little bit of hiss in there too. That way you kind of get the brass sound. But yeah, those are pretty easy to learn. For me, the hard one to learn was the snare. Everyone's snare sounds a little bit different. You know, you get people who kind of like to, you know, kind of an outward snare, you know, with an SH kind of sound. Some like to I always like to do an inward snare, so inhaling instead of exhaling. So inward snares are good for a couple different reasons. One, you don't spit everywhere. When you're doing an outward snare, it's easy to, you know, spit all over the place, and nobody wants to see you doing that. Nobody wants to, you know, see you slobbering all over. But also it sounds much more natural. That's the main reason I use it. You know, an outward snare versus an inward snare, there's a big difference. There are definitely cons to the inward snare. One, a lot of your other sounds are exhale sounds. You know, like you're pushing air out of your mouth. And then you do a snare, you know, and you gotta reverse that. You gotta inhale. So that can be hard to reverse on a dime like that sometimes, you know. But if you practice it a lot, you'll get used to it. It'll become easier and easier. Another con about the inward snare is sometimes you get too much air when you're doing it. So like you do it over and over again, and then you know, you just fill up with air and you can't get rid of it. So what I do to counter that is I push a lot more air out of my mouth when I'm doing like a kick drum sound. So I would do it more like just so that I'm getting all that air out that I inhaled when I did my snare. But enough of pros and cons. Let's learn how to do the snare. So I want you to start by inhaling. Just okay. And then kind of close your mouth. Like I keep my teeth together usually when I'm doing this. So and then put your tongue up against the roof of your mouth. So you get sound kind of like that. And then just release your tongue. So kind of like you're trying to click at the same time. So it's not gonna come right away. You may get a sound kind of like the best thing to do is just kind of play around with it, you know, move your tongue around in different places in your mouth, figure out where it works, where it makes that, that pop, that click sound, that, that's what I did. I watched a bunch of beatboxing tutorials, and then I just moved my tongue around until I found the right spot. That's the great thing about vocal percussion, is you mess around with it, have fun with it, experiment, make new sounds. The more you practice and play around with it, the better you'll get. That's with anything, but I beatbox all the time. Nonstop, just in my daily life. I annoy the heck out of my family by practicing the snare over and over again. And it's definitely gotten better than when I first started. So yeah, just practice a lot. Just like you would with anything else you want to get real good at. That's the only way you're ever going to get better. And this should work for both, guys and girls alike, because you're not really using your voice. It's all tongue and lips, So it shouldn't be any different for boys or girls. Except for when I do my kick drum sound. So I sometimes back it up with my voice. I have a bass voice, a bass range, and that definitely helps. So I do that sometimes just to give it in a little more, oomph and a little more power. So if you have a bass range, that can definitely give you advantages sometimes, but if you don't, that doesn't ruin it for you. You can still beatbox just as well. So kick drum, hi-hat, snare. Those are the three main basic components that you'll probably use in your beatboxing. Practice making beats with them, and just do different beats. Like I said earlier, and I can't emphasize this enough, just keep practicing, practice all the time. It's going to take patience, there will be frustration, but just keep at it, because you will get it. So this is the end of my first tutorial. Make sure to subscribe to my channel to get more great beatboxing tips, and see you next time.